Now for our next presenter, Chairman of the House Finance Committee, Delegate Vernon Criss.
Thank you very much. Since I'm the last speaker before lunch, we'll make this quick and dirty. I want to thank you all for allowing Senator DeCubo and I to participate. A lot of you don't understand how in state government that the legislature in West Virginia is the appropriations to run the government. State revenues are about $6 billion that we bring in to amplify to a $25 billion service organization. And as Rush Limbaugh used to say, I live in real world. And every morning I wake up and Virginia turns over and slaps the alarm clock at 5 o'clock. I know by the time I get to my office that there has been a service that the state of West Virginia has had to provide its citizens. And that costs money. So we are a service organization. Along the way, we want to make sure that the members of the Senate and the members of the House are spending those dollars wisely. We appropriate those dollars. We are the partnerships that create what you need because we appropriate the money. And it's important to us that we see down the road that we're spending our dollars wisely. Over the last 10 years or so, since we've had a quote-unquote change in management in the legislature, infrastructure has been to the forefront. There are several things in West Virginia that a lot of people outside of West Virginia don't understand. We love our families, we love our guns, we love our Bible, and we love our roads. And they all need to be right there. And that's unique because a lot of people from the outside of the state of West Virginia doesn't understand that. So we want to spend our dollars wisely towards infrastructure. This $29 million that the legislature appropriated and that Governor Justice approved is one of those infrastructure things. Senator DeCubo and I know that down the road, that's important. The monies that we gave for the cancer facility in Morgantown were another one of those things that we know that down the road, it's the wisest thing we can do towards the betterment of our health for our people. And it's funny because during the legislative process and during our legislative time, and a lot of you may notice that either work here or go to school here, that Dr. Nimitz disappears during January and February. Well, he's not on vacation. He comes to be in the legislature and walk the halls and talk to people because our process is old-fashioned. There is no book that teaches us what we have to do. We have to learn that, and we have to develop the network within our groups to be able to do the things for you all. And so Dr. Nimitz comes and he explains your story, and it's a great story. I had an uncle that went here at Greenbrier Military School. I had a niece that graduated from here in the Osteopathic school. And so our family connection from Parkersburg is very long-standing. And so doing what we had to do to make sure that the future of this facility is going to continue into the next century, that was important to me. And all these infrastructure projects that we do, we know that in the short term we will not see the results, but in the long term we know they will be there. And so even though the Secretary has talked about some of the flashy things as far as data centers and microgrids and the bio things, we've got to remember out of 1.8 million people and at 55 counties, the hard work is right here. You all at this school touch every county. Marshall doesn't do that. WVU doesn't do that. But this school does. It is people in every county. And it's important because that connection will tell you what you need to do for this research. And so as we go along in our process to continue to fund state government, we want to be able to look back and say, that was a good thing. Or if it wasn't a good thing, then we'll change it. But we would like to hear from you. We're a citizens part-time legislature. We have doctors, we have business people, we have teachers, we have farmers, we have coal miners that are there for 60 days. We come together, we develop a relationship between the 34 members in the Senate and the 100 members in the House. Sometimes we don't, as bodies, agree, but eventually we come together and provide the only one thing that we actually absolutely have to pass is a state budget. That has to go into effect in July 1. That's the only thing we have to pass constitutionally. Everything else is gingerbread. But we think we are on the right path. We have done heavy lifts. Now we're going back and looking at the things that we can tweak and make sure that we are trying to be as efficient with your dollars as possible. We have reduced state income taxes by 27.5% as far as the rates are concerned, but what that's done is actually the tax revenues that have come in for personal income tax have not dropped very little. Very little. So that means that the drop in the rates have created more revenue. As Ronald Reagan said, when you drop the rates, your income's going to increase as far as tax revenue is concerned. And we are seeing that. And we know that the energy industry is a big part of our tax collections, and we want that to continue. Not only in oil and gas, but in the coal. Coal is still a big part of our state, a big part of this part of the region of the state. And there are things for coal that are coming too. President Trump has brought that forward again. So all these things are important, but we are trying to make our state definitely more business friendly. And for the people that have come from the federal level to see the things that we have done, we appreciate that. Thank you for being here. I think you see that West Virginia is on the road in the right directions. And I think we all ought to be proud of that. So it's about 10 minutes to lunch, so I think it's time for me to stop. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for our West Virginia leadership panel.